In a tropical storm or a hurricane, a steady onshore component to the wind can bring storm surge. And it's worse when it's directly perpendicular to the coastline. That can set up the worst of storm surge for a coast. Now, of course, this process can take a little bit of time to occur with an approaching storm. When it's well offshore, that water does still start to rise here. It may not be at its highest point, of course, but you start to notice a little bit of flooding, especially near the beaches. Now, it increases as the storm approaches the coastline. Waters continues to rise. You could start to see some damage to structures here. And of course, the worst of it will be right as it makes landfall, right near that most onshore component to the wind, near the eye, where you have the strongest wind pushing against the shores, where you're going to get the worst of the storm surge, and that can certainly wipe out structures and do a lot more damage than the wind itself. Now, the reverse can also happen as well. You can see here with the wind offshore, and for us here in Tampa, that would happen if a storm were to make landfall to the south of Tampa Bay. We'd get an onshore or offshore wind with this setup. And that's exactly what happened during Hurricane Ian. You can take a look at a video from back in 2022, and people were actually able to walk out in Tampa Bay because that water was being pushed out of the bay with that strong offshore wind. Now, of course, this is something we would not recommend you to do. It's not like a tsunami, like the water's going to come rushing back in, but eventually as that storm pushes away, we will see that water come back up, even with that offshore wind. As it starts to weaken, it returns to more of a normal tide. This is all the reason why you have to know your evacuation zone. That depends on sea level, location, and how close you are to the coastline, and certainly be very important when it comes to evacuations.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your community, click the subscribe button here. You can also download the Spectrum News app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.